give your name and so we know who you are. I know who you are, but not everybody does. So please just contribute anything that you would like to say in regards to the levy, to the school, to the district, whatever is on your mind. Who will be first?
This is it. Oh, I don't know, if you can't hear me, I speak really loud as my Terry, I just want to thank you for coming. I don't know that we've officially met, but I'd be curious to know what your response is, and I know that was a lot that Shannon kind of threw out at all of us, and it's important information. I'm assuming it's factual, and I wondered what your thoughts are on a forensic audit, because it certainly makes sense to me.
I'm not one to beat around the bush. This board is not in a position to afford forensic audit. And there's a couple of three reasons why. We've talked to our CPA, and it's getting down to how many people know how many CPAs out there that do this. Every year there's a few less, and we're getting to where the pool is very small. They said if you wanted to do a forensic audit, it'd be somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000. Now, a forensic audit requires documentation. The personnel in the administration has changed. Those people that had that institutional memory are gone. Whether the invoices or the statements or the billings are still there, I'm not privy to it. We're not sure where it's at. So trying to find the correct information, and then at the end of the day, what is the product that you want? And what are you going to do with that product? You know, if you're trying to right or wrong, I can understand that, and I support that. In fact, I've been talking about the auditors because what do we do about an audit? We raise our hand and say, all right, we need an auditor. And, oh, well, that guy over there, he's willing to do it, and he's willing to do it for $8 grand. My God, let's get him on board. What kind of an auditor are you getting? You're only going to get what you pay for. Because you can spend 20 grand on an audit and dig deeper in. And one of the issues I've been harping about is that, all right, we get monies from multiple sources. And each one of these sources has a particular string attached to it. All right, if you get a federal dollar for a certain program and a teacher's working, and she's only can work on it 3 hours a day, is that source paying that 3 hours a day? And how do you find that? We have to trust our personnel that is doing it. Now, I want to ask you one question. Who runs the district?
The board should.
The board, absolutely. And over the years, as I've been watching, the board has been a rubber stamp for the administration. And that's BS in my department. Why did I spend, I got a document here, 40 pages thick, of the budget. I spent 3 or 4 hours going through it, and I picked out a few items like I told you. None of the other board members do that. But they're getting there. They're starting to realize their responsibility is to run that man's behind every time we have a meeting. Is he a good man? Absolutely. Wood's a good man. He born and raised in our community. He came out of Boise School District, not downtown, but Boise County. So he has a heart for us, and he's trying his damnedest. You know, we had an issue here just the other month, transgender. I had an opportunity to testify before the legislature, and I'm probably one of the only board members that I've done it 3 times so far during this session, trying to support some of the things we need. But I told it was this tax bill, which I'll talk a little bit about, but I basically said, I'm an educator. You hired me to educate your kids. I don't give a damn about your pronouns. And I mean that sincerely. If a kid wants to have a pronoun, you know, do it on his dime, not mine, not yours. This idea of having restrooms for this kind and a restroom for that kind, I'll probably get myself in a lot of hot water for saying this, but you know, the good Lord made me what I am, and I am damn sure I'm not going to be one of you gals. I tell my wife every month, I said, man, I'm glad I'm a man. She sits there with those bottles and combs her hair and does her eyelashes. I'm not happy with what went on in the past. Of course, we've had challenges in the department, but that's because the board did not hold their feet to the fire. I've sat on multiple boards. Anybody know of Dairy Gold? I was a board of director for Dairy Gold for a number of years. That's $1 billion company. Believe me, when you get to that level, you don't play around with the finances. I mean, my seat at the board was right next to the CFO. And boy, when I got done, my pencil was pretty dull after all the things he straightened me out on. I'm proud to be a board of director. It's a lot of work for this old man. But you've got to be the boss. That's important. It's important for the community to know that those 6 people up there are making decisions, and I'm just 1/6 of a decision. I'm here tonight talking from my heart, not for the other 6 people who are out there. I think our community has had the idea that, gosh, it's nice to be a board member. I like that accolade of being a board member. But do they want to put the time in the saddle? Are they going to ride that horse up that hill and get the job done? When they come home at night, are they going to be proud? My dad, I remember one time I was building a set of mangers for some cows back in the 50s. And you know how you make the V and the V, you put a board in the V and so forth. When it got done, it was all cattywampus. And my dad said, what the hell have you done here? I said, the cows can do it. I said, yeah, but look at what it looks like. He says, when you get done with a project, you damn sure better sign your name to it. And I do that every day for you people. I want you to know that I'm responsible for my portion of that 1/6. I honestly, I respect you. We work together. We've done a lot of battles. But people, let's bury this damn hatchet and get on with it. Because your board right now is starting to grow legs. You know, when I came on the first time, I got appointed. And we as a board got together, and that was one of the best boards you people had. Because one of our jobs we felt together was, let's change the culture. Let's get away from this and do what the good Lord meant. I want to live by the golden rule. I want to do business by the golden rule. I want to teach kids by the golden rule. And that's where we're getting to today. We came in there and got rid of, you know who. We got rid of the curriculum director. That was $100,000 a year. That doesn't exist anymore. We got rid of the principal at the high school. We got a new assistant principal, and now a new principal at the high school. We're evolving to a better culture to do the jobs that we are intended to do.
Terry, then tell me, why is the district in such a hole? Did you inherit that, or how, why?
Okay, it's plain and simple. The state is not giving us enough money. You know, there's 95 districts in this state that live on levies. If the state was giving us enough money to do our job, they wouldn't need to do it, and we wouldn't either. And Woods knows that when he in this job, we as a community got together, and Woods, God bless him, he comes out, he comes to Farm Bureau board meetings, and he takes the punishment from people like you. And they let him know straight up that levies is not going to fly here anymore. And consequently, we still have levies. Just like I said, special ed, who pays for that? Comes out of our tax dollars, and you're only paying $35 a hundred. The lowest value, I think, we have no bond, and this levy goes off in June, so we will have no levies. And you know I'm going to have to beg your indulgence, but we've passed a lot of bills just in the last couple of months. And this tax bill, I don't quite understand yet, but it's going to help pay for levies. Well, if you haven't got a levy, you aren't going to get that money to pay for it. Now, I don't know if it goes into an account and waits till we get a levy or whatever, but 23-24 school year, you may get some relief on this. And I'm guessing at it, but I think that's the way it's going to work. So we've got some help coming. But
Are there some questions, comments, opinions?
That's a good question. What is the goal tonight? Is it to write a new levy to spark the interest in?
the levy has already been written. It had to be submitted a couple of weeks ago to get on the May ballot. And in that levy, you're going to have two questions. One, are you going to vote for a maintenance portion of it? And two, are you going to vote for an administrative portion of it? The original levy that was voted down was for $1.5 million, $900 for the administration and $600 for the schools. Well, now the levy that's coming out will be $400,000 for administration and the $600,000 for maintenance. And you got to vote 2 times, not once, but twice. If you don't vote yes on both, one will and one won't. So, yeah, we'll have the maintenance. My gut feeling is the maintenance will pass and maybe the administration won't. But the administration had to come up with $132,000 more this year for their portion, even though they cut $300,000 out a few years ago, a couple of years ago, whatever. The cost, we had to hire 2 replacements. Well, those replacements took more money to get them in the job. Their benefits, our health insurance costs more money.
Can I get some clarification?
Sure.
When you say that one is for the maintenance and one is for administration, you don't just mean administrators, you also mean special ed teachers and
Yes.
special ed. So it's not, when you say administrative, that's for the actual people that are in the classroom.
Yeah, the
That's,
instructional coaches,
right.
counselors. You know, I talked to a counselor at Black Canyon the other day. Summer Ash, I think it's her name. Anyway, she got really personal with me. She said, I'm carrying a pretty heavy load because she does Black Canyon part of the day and then she goes over to the middle, or the elementary school the other part of the day and helps those kids. She got real quiet. She shut the door. She says, I got to tell you, our school district has a problem. It's called trafficking. Can somebody in here tell me what their definition of trafficking is?
What kind of trafficking are you talking about?
Kids are being trafficked.
Like sexual trafficking?
That's what I'm asking you. What's your idea of trafficking?
So it's an abuse of the kids.
What they're doing is, you know, we've got an element in our district, kids that are challenges. And these kids get off and have parties and do things that, you know, you wouldn't let your kids do, but anyway, they do it. They get these kids high on drugs, they get them high on alcohol, and they have them do nefarious things and then take pictures of them. And next thing you know, they're saying, well, if you don't pay me $500, I'm going to put these pictures on the internet, or I'm going to tell your folks. And these kids are doing anything they can to stop that from happening. And the same day she told me about it, I was coming home and a talk show was talking about a young man, football player, that got involved in this. And he was so distraught, he killed himself. We don't want that to happen. But she's dealing with it. Well, I went to Rotary that day and I gave a report that, you know, we've got traffic in it. We got 3 sheriffs, a sheriff and 2 deputies. Man, they caught up on it just like that. They said, yes, that's real. That's going on in our community. And we're working hard to put a stop to it. But these counselors are usually the ones that get the confidence of the student, and they share with them some of these things. We need more than one counselor, and that comes out your pocket. That comes out of the levy. Thank you for asking that question. So.
James, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I know there's a trust issue. I have a trust issue. I mean, I voted no on the last 2 levies as well. And I know you don't know me, but my name's James Everett, and nice to meet you.
You bet, James.
My concern is that I hear your explanation saying that there is no, I'm sorry.
Fraud.
Yeah, to the fraud, and then you're saying that we need to spend all this money. I'd rather spend money on the audit than I would the levy at this point. And that's a trust issue, because there is no trust. You'll get the no's, and you're gonna continue to get the no's until you either build the trust or you do the audit. And so in your explanation was that you only get what you pay for, and I agree with that completely. And we're only getting what we paid for right now with the management of the board and the taxes that we're putting into it. I understand, I expected that it less, but when you're saying you're managing my money, my tax dollars, and you're willing to go to the lowest bidder to get my tax, to use, to manage this situation, but you're not willing to go to do an audit at all, then that's just makes me more suspect.
Well, where are we going to get the money from?
I just told you, I'll pay for an audit in a levy before I'll pay for the other.
In the meantime, we still have to run the school district.
What's that?
In the meantime, we still have to run the school district.
Hang on.
You know, I get your people's heartburn. I've had the same heartburn. But now I'm on the inside looking out. And all I can say is, let's draw a line in the sand and say, all that happened under previous administration, under previous cultures.
Okay. So the second part of my question is that I did a little bit of research this morning, or this afternoon before coming, and I'm looking at just the one thing for maintenance, right? You say you got an estimate for $725,000. You say we need $600,000 to do it. You told me today during the call that you off the cuff, $250, $300 to do a roof. Where's the real dollar amount that I'm expected to pay?
We're getting that dollar, but we've had an estimate in the past for $300,000.
Uh-huh.
And the superintendent says, well, maybe we can get it done for $250. In the meantime, the roofs are leaking, and we're patching them.
No, I get it.
But we've got 2 roofs. So if there were $250, that's $500,000 for just repairing the roofs. You know that at the middle school, we put in a security system. They went in there and redid the front end of that school. When they were tearing apart, they noticed the roof's been leaking.
Yeah.
So that was $10,000 that we had to come up with to fix that roof so that we could make that installation last.
The leak and do the patch.
Yep.
And I understand that kind of work, construction, and all of those things, and there's patches, and there's way to manage things in order to get the project 2 years from now versus get you $600,000 this year. And what I see is that it's going out to bid next week. It's the bidder's request that's out on the board shows that I believe it's bids returned by May 12th. How are we going out without funds?
All we're doing is ask for a bid. So we know, basically, we're asking for money and we're guessing.
So we're asking bidders to put a bid together and give it to the school district.
The school district.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing business done that way. If you don't have funds, you don't ask somebody to come give you a bid.
Well, that's the way schools run,
Okay,
you know, unfortunately.
that's just what I see. And then again, that builds distrust because it seems like it's not being managed.
I can tell you from where I live, out in my community,
Yeah.
the number one item is trust.
Mhm.
You know, we've heard so much BS for so long. But then again, realize, you've been working with boards that were not the bosses. And that frustrates me more than anything. And now the board is starting to exercise, we had a exec meeting the other day that, ooh, I haven't been in one like that yet. And it was right down to the bare bone. We got to talking about the stuff that we're really concerned about, and we want the performance to improve and so forth, so.
The other thing is, I agree with, is the communication. We don't have the communication. How do we know the levy's coming out? It's 3 days before the levy. I have someone like calls me up and says, hey, we're voting. And there's, that seems under the radar.
You know, and the fact that most of you people didn't know about that stunned me. I found out about that today. So I called Bob Hyde and I said, hey, Bob, what's going on with all this? He says, I keep hearing it all over the district. He says, I want to personally, Bob wants to personally come up here and stand where I'm standing and talk to you people and give you better facts than I can present you with.
Yeah.
So, same questions for him.
I'd like to see some more communication and some more
Yeah,
involvement.
and you deserve it. Everybody deserves it.
I think you will get it if Bob comes. He's a man of integrity. I think running the levy will make a big difference. But you know, Terry, there were 2 teachers walking out of the building the day of the levy vote. Another teacher stopped them and said, when are you going to go vote? They said, what are we voting for? Those were teachers.
I've heard that very thing.
And I just go on.
Very disappointing to me.
Marilyn?
Yeah. Has there been a levy in the past, years past even, to fix these roofs, these leaky roofs? Because I know someone who has told me on occasion he will never vote for another levy because they take the money and spend it somewhere else. They
You know,
don't spend it
when I-
on what they say they're going to use.
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking it. When I came on going to board meetings, I spent over a year and a half going to board meetings before I ever got on the board. And I can't believe people will run on the board and never get themselves informed. But they had a levy that was going to put a new roof on the middle school gym. And it got pushed off for a year. And it was my understanding that the money was used to balance the budget, and then the next year they finally put the roof on. But that went 3 years before it was put on. And you know, there's funny things that go on, and I don't approve of them. And that's why, just like today, I spent time looking at the budget, wanting to know why this is this and that's that. And it takes board members, they have to discipline and take their time to look between the lines. You know, that budget, I think there's 2,500 lines, maybe 3,000 lines of items that are in that budget that require somebody oversight to make sure this item gets paid, and that item gets paid, and it's under this fund, and it's under that fund, and, you know, we get our money. One of the things that's happening this year, that, yeah, do you know what ADA is? Do you know what ADM is? We're living under ADM right now. It's average daily, I want to say membership. These are how many kids that are enrolled in your school. Whether they're butts in the seat or not, they're enrolled. Well, they're going to go back to the ADA, and that's going to cost us somewhere between $800,000 and $900,000 lost in our funds that come from the state.
Gloria, did you have something?
Well, to piggyback on what Terry said, for one of the things that I did just for fun when I was teaching with the kids was to show them how much it cost each day for them to come to school. That the school district would get paid X number of dollars for them when they were at school. And when they weren't at school, then the school district, they subtracted that money away. That's when we were under the ADA. And they were surprised, well, if I'm staying home, then you're not getting this amount of money, which I think at that time it was like $27 or whatever, but it was a long time ago. But anyway, they were shocked at the fact that when they came to school, schools got money. And when they stayed home, we didn't. But now when this was changed, then it was just numbers in a book turned into the state. Now they're going to be going back to actual average daily attendance. So if the kids are not in the school, our school district will not daily attendance be getting any monies for them like they had been. So it will be a cut from the state monies in that respect. So and then I wanted to ask, how much was the levy that's going to expire in June? How much was it for?
Oh, it said $1.5 million.
Okay, so these two levies together would be equivalent about
$1 million.
to what?
This is what the public said they wanted us to do. so
Right,
we're-
is expiring. So, and in June, there would be no more levy payments or anything. And so the two levies together would be less than what the one that's
That's right.
expiring in
There will
June.
be no increase in your tax payment if you vote for both of them.
Okay.
If you vote for one, yes, you'll have a reduction. What it is, I don't know.
And then my other question was on the staff. The reason I really questioned the whole levy process was because when I was teaching, the monies for wages could not be mixed with a levy with maintenance. They had to be separated. And obviously that has changed, but I asked questions and asked questions and no one could seem to answer that. And so I didn't want to vote on something that might be illegal. We have enough illegal stuff going on. So our principal answered that question, and it is legal to mix maintenance levy and have wages included with that now. Bonds are for buildings. But the monies that what did you say, 400,000, now down from 900, would provide staff, counselors or teachers that are going to be needed because we have more kids, we're going to have more teachers. And Black Canyon is a real personal thing for me. My son's best friend, who was an excellent student, was not going to be able to finish his senior year of high school and walk because his dad got sick and he had to drop out of school to help his dad. So I went to Mr. Vaughn and I said, can Jeff go to Black Canyon at night and finish his school and walk with the kids? Black Canyon at that time was hardly called a school district. It wasn't even ours. And they allowed him to work all day with his dad, take 9 classes, and he got to walk with his class of